Shall I begin the session? Is there anybody left to join?
Please start.
Sure, ma'am. So today again we'll be working with the scan of patient Surjit only. But today our main focus will be to extract the maxillary sinuses. So I'm going to present my screen now.
అందరూ
Is the software visible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So as usual, our first step will always be to start a new project. So I'll go to new project and I'll select the DICOM folder and I'll do next. So what I'm doing right now is I'm unchecking the entire box. From here, I'm just selecting the one that I want for today's exercise, and I'm going to click open. The project will be converted. So again, my first step after importing will always recreate a mask. Now the mask does not necessarily have to be always of bone. It can be soft tissue also, but as per your requirement. So generally what we do, we go to mask and choose the create new mask option, or we go to segment and use the new mask option. But sometimes, I guess you guys will be working with fibula models also for for the reconstruction of mandible using the fibula bone. So there's something called as advanced segment option that gives you an option of segmenting only the bone. So we'll try this today. So under advanced segment, you can select CT bone wizard. This is generally advised for long bones only, but since I do not have a fibula scan, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to demo how you can use this segmentation tool to apply it to your long bones, especially your fibula bones, right? So once the wizard or the properties box appears, you will see there's one mask that is auto created, bone one. You can see that in the project management also, the software has already created a bone one option, and it has already taken certain threshold values of 226 to 3071. So the software has already said this for us. Now what we have to do is we have to now give it seed points. You see this tab, this is the seed point selection. Out of the entire bones, out of the entire scan, what I have to do is I have to feed the software my seed point or the bone seed point. So anywhere on the bone, I'll just select one point. So it is detecting that point now. So what it is actually doing is by using this desired point that is of 1581 Hounsfield unit, it is detecting the remaining bones in the scan. How is it detecting? Basically, the principle is you have something called as a seed threshold and sensitivity below at the bottom of the window, right? So seed threshold is basically the range that it will select. If you can see, I'll just zoom in here. It has demarcated in green certain sections of the bone that it thinks falls under the same HU value or similar to that. So what it has done is between the range 226 to 307, it has isolated the values or the pixels. Now, then comes the factor of sensitivity. Since I clicked on the mandible, what it has done is around that pixel, 70 pixels around that pixels, what it has done is based on that pixels and surrounding like adjacent 70 pixels it will consider, and that way the chain will continue. So per se right now my uh, mouse is at this pixel. So what it will do is it will first consider 70 pixels around it, then it will consider another 70 pixels around the same circle. So the circle keeps on increasing, basically your range keeps on increasing, and that is how the entire bone will get selected. If you can see here, the bed side that you are seeing is not selected. So it is appropriate to only for bone modules. Right? So now I can adjust my sensitivity also. Let's see what happens when I decrease my sensitivity to only 10. The auto input it is taking is changing. Now you see it is selected only the mandibular section. The maxilla section has been eliminated. So basically, what you feed into your seed threshold and sensitivity, as per that, your mask will be created. Now, let's just say I want to see what bony portion it takes if I keep my values like this. So I'll just click on next. So if you see, it is taking some part of maxilla as well. Why? Because of this happens because of the threshold values. Now, in case I don't want any part of the maxilla to be considered, what I can do is I can go back to bone selection. I can click this negative point here and I can just select a point here. So what this does is that is your undesired seed point. So any point beyond adjacent to these regions, as per my sensitivity stated, it will deselect those regions for us. So if you see, that means it will not select any point related to the maxilla. I'm going to go next. Now, if you see, only your mandibular bone is selected. Now I'm going to click next. Then comes the finishing options. You will have to fill in the bone completely, but since we don't want to fill in the mandibulary nerve section, if you see this small gap that you see is a nerve basically. So I don't want to fill in those gaps. So what I will do is I will keep my gap closing distance as 0 and I'll just uncheck this. I'll say calculate. So my mask is created. Now I'll finish. What I'm going to now do is I am going to calculate the 3D for this.
Hello.
Hello.
Listen, where this finishing option is given? Can you repeat?
Sure, I'll do that. Yes. So when I go to the bone section, here, yeah, you see there's a bone mask created. What I'll do is I'll just click on any point that I want to work with. So I'll have to first create seed at desired seed point. So let's say we want to take the maxilla now. You see the maxilla is highlighted in a yellow color. I'll mark an undesired seed point at the mandible. Right? What I'll now do is I will select next. Again, you can change the seed threshold, you can change the sensitivity as per your requirement. I'll select next. So this threshold, what the minimum and maximum value that you see is selected by the software itself as per the preset values that it already has defined for itself. So now if you see the spine is also coming in and certain section of the mandible is also coming in. We don't want it that way. So you can again, suppose you don't want it that way, you can go back again, add your undesired seed point location, you can change your sensitivity again and refine your mask in a better way. After this, after you're satisfied with your mask creation and visualization, you'll have to click next. When you click next, you get your finishing option. In here, you can add in your gap closing distance and your fill long bones. So what does gap closing do is basically any small hole or any small opening it sees in the model, it will close it. So even if it's your orbital floor, the bone of the orbital floor is kind of brittle and sometimes it has small gaps in it. It will, irrespective of the anatomy, it will still go ahead and close the model. So it is ideal to generally keep the gap closing distance in the range of 1 or 2, because otherwise if you increase the pixel value higher or the factor higher, then the accuracy will be decreased or basically your anatomy will be irregular. So one to calculate the mask and then finish. So I'm going to calculate both my masks. I'm just going to rename them. First, this is our mandible. This is our I hope I've addressed your doubt and things are clear. Moving forward, I will now calculate these two parts. I'll select on the calculate part, checkbox both of this, and I'll click on OK. If you can see, the mask is not taken the entire tooth properly. So I'll tell you why. Generally for teeth, the HU values are anywhere above 1200 or 1800, right? And this CT bone wizard is basically for long bones. So it is ideal if you only focus on bones through this. So generally if you have your fibula free flap or anything like that, it is the ideal operation for that. Otherwise, your general new mask option does equally good. Right. So moving on. Now, let's move on to soft tissue segmentation. So, if we can see, these are the maxillary sinuses. I'm closing all my mask. Is the scan visible clearly?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, I'm just scrolling through the scan so that we can trace the maxillary sinus together. So, here it starts. If I'm, yeah, at this level, and coming down, you can see this maxillary sinus opening up, and now they're closing. So the first step in segmenting any part or component is to identify its location. So we have now located where the maxillary sinus is. So let's use a regular technique of just creating a mask. So I'm going to create a mask. Now maxillary sinus comes under soft tissue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my settings here to soft tissue, right? And then further decrease it so that it incorporates the pixels. But what when I'm decreasing it, what I see is it's taking a lot of irregular pixels and lot of unwanted value. So definitely this is not the ideal way of doing this. You know, it will just going to cause you a lot of back and forth and lot of manual segmentation. So you can't use this. The other way to do is to manually draw the entire thing. Again, a tedious job. So what we are going to now use an option called as dynamic region grow. Another mask creation option where that helps you to create the mask using just a single pixel input. So your dynamic region grow comes under your segment menu. So I'm going to select dynamic region grow. You have your properties window here. So your target will always be your new mask per se. So I have set my new mask here. I'm going to fill cavities and I want it to do multi-layer. So let me first uncheck multi-layer and see what it does. Seed point. So what I want you to notice is if you see I keep moving my cursor, the seed point keeps moving. It keeps changing. So this indicates the value of that point at that moment. So when I click on the maxilla, on the left maxilla, I just give it a seed point. So if you see, what I've done is I've checked my fill cavities, but I've unchecked my multiple layers. So when I'm moving down, it has not selected the lower region. It has just selected that slice. On that slice, it has marked the anatomy for me. Now when I click multiple layers and I'm scrolling down, just 1 second. Yeah, I'm complete maxillary sinus as is. Right? Now, if I zoom in on this, you see the borders are not clear. The borders are not crisp, basically. You know, some pixels are left here and there. You can adjust that using the deviation option. You can increase the minimum and maximum values of the pixels. So basically, what deviation is of the seed point minus 992, it is taking plus 50 and minus 50 values in the region. You can change it to say 70. And then click close. There is no OK option because it's already created here. If you can see, you just have to close it, and your maxillary mask is ready. I'll just calculate this mask for us. So if you see, this is how your maxillary sinus is looking. I'm going to switch on the maxilla so you can see the maxillary sinus through the bone. So in the 3D toolbar option, you will have something called as transparency. So if you switch this on from here and then click on this transparency options at the lower window. So right now it says it's opaque. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make the maxilla model transparent so we can see through it. I hope the difference is visible. So you can see the maxillary sinus through the bone. So this is basically something that helps you for better visualization of the component. Okay. If we still see, through dynamic region growth, some sections are still not coming correctly. So now what we can do is there's another option called as Smart Expand. Right? Before moving to Smart Expand, is there any doubt till now? Do you want me to repeat anything? Okay. I'm assuming we're clear and moving ahead. So there's something called as Smart Expand. Again, it comes under the segmentation toolbar. Click on Smart Expand. You can set your source mask. My source mask is Anne. What I'll just do is I'll rename this mask here first as my left sinus. Okay. My target mask can again be my same mask or like from the mask option that I already have or a new mask. I'm going to choose a new mask because we would want to see the difference that it causes. Again, you will have an option called as expand distance. So for now, let's just assume it to be 10 pixels. And I'm clicking apply. Okay. What I'll now do is I will calculate this. All right. Expanded left sinus. So if you can see, it has taken in extra pixels at the border. This is a better, as compared to the previous, this is better. This encompasses your entire anatomy. So I'll just calculate this. Right. I'm going to hide both the masks now and switch on their contours and zoom in for you. So if you see, you can see the difference it has caused to the mask. So ideally, not, to extract a component, it will always be like you'll have to use a combination of tools. Not a single tool will give you your ideal 100% result. But if you if you combine the correct tools, then definitely your output will be the optimum one. Right. So Smart Expand is one option to correct your dynamic region grow mask. But the other option is something called as morphology operations, right? So morphology operations is very similar to the operations that we did yesterday, which is Boolean operations. It's very similar to those. So basically, let's use morphology operation and understand how it works. So your morphology operations can be found under your segment menu, right? So I'm going to select my mask as left sinus. What I want to do is I want to dilate. As the name suggests, erode will remove pixels. Dilate will uh, open pixels, expand the pixels. Open and close, open and close will just help you complete your anatomy. So they're very similar. Like erode and close are very similar in function. Dilate and open are very similar in function. So let's first dilate. So my target mask name will be dilated sinus. Right. I'm just going to keep here 2 pixels maybe and use the connectivity of 8 connectivity. So connectivity here functions similar to region group. So based on 2 pixels, it choose the other 8 pixels, and based on those other 8 pixels, it will keep choosing 8 pixels. So the chain continues and keeps growing. I'll click, apply. I hope the change is visible. Let's close. I am hiding the 2 masks. I'm toggling between them so you can see the difference. So again, in the expanded left sinus mask, if you see, there were certain borders still left to encompass. But when you've done dilation, it has taken the mask perfectly well. So as you can see, for one operation, you will have multiple options. You will have to choose the best fit according to your requirement. So I will again just calculate this. Okay. So if you see at the region here that I'm highlighting through my mouse, it has taken some extra values. So this is not ideal. So what I'll now have to do is I'll have to go back to my morphology operations, maybe change the pixel values here or change the connectivity and then further do it. So I would want to take an example of, wherein you limit the mask or limit the movement of this. So what I am going to do is, we have 2 masks already created. One is your left sinus, other is your expanded sinus. So I'm going to keep my lower limit as my left sinus and my upper limit as my expanded left sinus. So I'm going to go to morphology operations. So my lower limit or my source mask becomes left sinus. My upper limit mask becomes my expanded left sinus. Dilate. And I'm going to click apply. So now what you observe is the new mask that has been created through the morphology operation is between the range of left sinus and expanded left sinus. Last time when we did not put a limit, it took the entire value. If you can see the yellow part. Now that we have given it a limitation, it has stayed within the same boundaries. You want to apply and close.
So now if we need to calculate the volume of the maxillary sinus.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
So if you want to calculate volume, no. So today I'll be introducing you to 3-matic as well. If you know, Mimix comes with a combination of the segmenting software and the designing software. So it is easier to measure using what we say, the 3-matic option. Otherwise, you will have to, here you can just get the dimensions and the angle.
Okay. Parinita, Is the calculation of the
Yes, ma'am.
oropharyngeal space the same way? So if we need to do the calculation of the oropharyngeal space,
Right, ma'am.
we have to go the same way.
You want Yes, ma'am. It's almost similar.
Yeah.
You want to calculate the volume of it?
Yes. Or directly with thematic we can do it. So we have to proceed like this as you
Ma'am,
should.
the thematic no.
Huh.
नहीं मैम यहाँ पे कैसा होगा ना यू विल गेट द एरिया ओनली आपको डायरेक्ट वॉल्यूम कहीं पे भी नहीं मिलेगा
हाँ.
तो यू विल गेट योर डायमीटर एंगल डिस्टेंस दैट वे आपको डायरेक्ट वॉल्यूम है ना इफ आई एक्सपोर्ट दिस पार्ट सो व्हाट आई डू इज आई एम एनी व्हिच इज गोइंग टू इनिशिएट थीमेटिक टुडे ना तो मैं आपको एग्जांपल के लिए अभी बता देती हूँ
हाँ.
कि आप थीमेटिक में उसको कैसे देख सकते हैं.
And here also I wanted to ask you. So this is maxillary
Yes, ma'am.
sinus is basically for teaching students. So if I want to show
Right.
the bone also along with it, so I can visualize the bone holding the maxillary sinus, or need to remove it. So that way I wanted to have a look at maxillary sinus. So
No, ma'am, if you can repeat, you said you want to show the bone and the maxillary sinus as one component.
as one component, and then remove bone and just show sinus. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, you can do that. So just let this load. I will show you how.
Uh-huh. So need to segment the adjacent bone also, or
Yes, ma'am, I'll just show you that. One second. Right. So your doubt is you want to. So let's assume this is our maxillary sinus. What I've now checked is the volume rendering option, ma'am. So what is volume rendering? It comes under the 3D tools menu only. So what this volume rendering does is, you can see it's here below under the along with log and contrast, you have an option called as volume rendering. You can just keep checking here. So I've just selected bone now. So I've not calculated this mass, ma'am. What I've done is I've just switched on the volume rendering option. So now you can just, without creating any mask also, you can visualize the bone, the soft tissue.
It's not clear.
I'm done.
Ma'am, your voice is not clear.
Is it
I think
better?
internet issues.
What I do is I just stop the presentation and restart it. Is this better? The voice better now?
No, ma'am.
Is this better? Am I audible?
Yes.
So I will then present.
Yes.
So going back to the volume rendering options. Generally, why we keep volume rendering option closed is because it makes your file very heavy to work with. So it makes your operations basically flags the software. So you can switch on volume rendering as and when required. So like first you created your maxilla mask, and then once you're ready to see and visualize, you can only then go and switch on your volume rendering option here.
Where is this volume rendering option?
Yes, ma'am. So you'll have it. So if you go to your 3D and you maximize your 3D window, you will have multiple options. So first is your transparency option. Then you have your clipping option, wherein you can clip the file. So if I
Okay.
have
So
to show
these are the
you,
shortcuts only.
yes, ma'am, shortcuts only. So you can, yeah. So wherever my cursor was at that moment, it has clipped those regions. If I'm moving my cursor upwards, it's clipping. So you can take sectional views like this. So that's how clipping works. So if I had to see something like this, so I can see my maxillary sinus. Use the clipping option. Then I can see the upper part of it. So this is a clipping function. I've just closed my clipping function. Then there is something called as triangles. So what is your model made of? It is nothing but triangles. So basically your while calculating a 3D value, what the software does it calculates the pixels in form of multiple triangles and gives you a 3D generated model. So if you want to visualize your model of how many triangles it is made, so if I'm zooming in, you can see triangles. Uh, so this is how your model is actually made as a combination of multiple triangles. Then comes your volume rendering option. Here. So
Okay.
yes, I'm just zooming out of this window. So for volume rendering, to set what kind of volume rendering do you want to see, you'll have to go under the volume rendering tab, which is at the bottommost corner, along with log and contrast. Here, you'll have a drop down option, bone and soft tissue. So as per your requirement, you can select what you want to see, and then toggle the volume rendering option. I'll hide this. So you don't have to create a mask. You can just, based on the volumetric analysis done by the software, it will recreate the bone for you. Say I wanted to see the soft tissue. this can be also done manually. I'm just changing some points, and you can see the transparency is increased. You can see the change. Can you observe the changes? When I'm changing
Yes.
points, so you can see that you can see the skin as a lighter form, and then you can see the bone, and you can also see the purplish maxillary sinus, the one that we created. So this is how you can visualize. But you also see, it's taking time for me to turn the model. Basically, what volume rendering does is it lags the model. So it is ideal that in the end, when you just have to visualize things, you toggle it only then. Otherwise, while working, it will lead to software crashing.
Okay.
Yes. Another very important point that I forgot to mention is after every 10 minutes of using the software, please save your project, right? Because your software sometimes what it does is sometimes the computer specs that we are using are not that high end, and there are certain tools or certain functions in the software that take a lot of time. So you'll have to abruptly end it, and sometimes when you abruptly end a function, your software might just crash or close, and your project will be unsafe. So it's ideal that you keep saving your project every 10 minutes or 15 minutes of work, so you don't lose your work basically. So as you were saying, volume. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy my sinus model. I'm just pressing Control C over it. I'm just doing Control C. I get an option of selecting my part. So I'm going to select the expanded left sinus and click on OK. If you can see below in the window section, I have all switched on the thematic. I'm going to make it full screen. For now, I'm just, because we wanted to see the volume, I'm just showing how we can see the volume. I will introduce the entire interface and everything in the next 10 minutes. So I'm just pasting my model by Control D. Now when I click on the expanded left sinus, you see there is a properties window here, right? I will scroll down to this. So you can see the color is set here. If you want, you can change the color, right? You can see the number of triangles your part is made of. So this is made up of 18,992 triangles. You can see the number of points it has. It has only one surface. These parameters like marked triangles, invisible triangles, I will mention as in we proceed with thematic. Coming down to your dimensions, you can see you have your minimum dimensions, you have your maximum dimensions. So basically what does dimensions mean is you can see there's a box created around this model, right? So this box is your delta dimension or your box dimensions, dimension delta. So it gives you the length, breadth and height. Below it is volume. So volume is in mm3. So it is 229. So sorry, the volume is 22. 22 centimeter cube. So you can read your volume through this tab. Then you also have your surface area. Okay. Going back to mimics, before we proceed to thematic, we'll have one small thing left to close in here. That is filling gaps. Now, sometimes what happens is the other option of filling gaps is something called your smart fill. So if you go to segment and you click on other option called as smart fill. Okay, so you will have to select your source mask. I'm going to select left sinus as my source mask. There are two options, global and local. You can either use one or you can use a combination. So what I'm going to do is under global, I'm just going to click fill holes. So what now you see that this region has also been incorporated. Maybe I can try at 4. So it's helping me fill the gaps in between. Then what I can do is I can then mark hole and mark according to my requirement. So now it is helping me calculate further. So I'm using a combination of global and local. Now, yes. Okay. Should I move forward? Was there any doubt?
No, we just wanted to know. So if we need to calculate the oropharyngeal volume, we have to proceed similar
Yes.
way in mimics.
Right. Right.
Okay. And for orbital volume, also similar way.
Yes, ma'am. You can do it similar way. So
So once we have segmented it in this way, then we can go into thematic for the volume measurement.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's what we also generally do. We segment
Okay.
the orbital floor. If you can see, I'm marking it right now. So to my cursor, this is the orbital volume. So we trace it using a mask. We create a mask. We trace it, and once we've traced it, then we take the created mask to thematic, and from the volume, we get the volume for the orbital floor. So
Do we
So
need
now-
to use this axial sections only, or we can go with coronal sections also,
no, ma'am.
or sagittal sections as well?
Any section,
Any section.
any section, not a problem. So if you want, I'll just do a small quick demo on the sagittal for the other side, using the coronal on the other side. So I'm going for the right maxilla now. I'm just selecting fill cavities, multiple layers, and clicking on the point. You see, similar to the left side, the right side has been created. So the section is not a limitation. It is as per your convenience. Whichever section you are comfortable with, you can go ahead and use that to recreate.
Okay.
Yes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just creating a random bone mark mask and I'm going to export that. Export that STL. So when we export the STL from Mimics or any segmentation tool software, physically view the model, right? So your file, once you've segmented it using Mimics, is not print ready yet. It has to go through something called fixing parameters, and your fixing parameters are available in Thematic. So once you're done, your segmentation is completed, you have to export the file and then import your file into Thematic. Okay, so now basically, as we have been doing Mimics since the last 3-4 days, basically what Mimics does is it gives you multiple options to segment or convert your 2D DICOM images into 3D segment, 3D viewing or 3D models, right? It helps you segment and isolate certain regions and recreate an anatomy for your visualization. But what if you want to design, you want to make changes to it or plan a surgery? That you can do. You can recreate, you can modify, or you can add on to the components of the anatomy in Thematic. So I have recreated my bones. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to calculate it. I am calculating it. Once I'm done with the calculation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the drop down, export STL, and save it. With a bone. Right? So I'm just minimizing this tab and going to Thematic. So when you with your Mimics Innovation Suite, you will also have Thematic as a complementary as a combination, wherein Mimics you use segment and Thematic you design and you make changes. So what you right now see is the Thematic interface, right? Okay. So again, as you have seen in Mimics, you have your title bar, wherein you have your project name in here, project name, project details. Then you will have your menu. So this is your file, edit, view, align. Again, we will get into the details as and when we proceed, right? So just like these are your drop-down options. File, edit, view. Similarly, to ease your process, you have certain segments which have the shortcuts. So when you click on align, you will have the same options. You'll have interactive translate, interactive rotate, translate, rotate. As you can see here, under the align tab, I have interactive translate, interactive rotate. So this is just like as and when you proceed, you know which shortcut indicates what, and you can easily select. So this is basically your quick user reference view. You can say, right? Then this gray area that you see is your work area. This is where you will see your STLs, and this is where the changes that you make to the file can be visualized within your work area, right? Again, as I highlight the left section, this is your shortcut keyboard, wherein you have options of importing a part, a new project, your save, undo, redo options, your selecting options if you want to select any particular file. Then this is again panning the view. So I will highlight this once I import a STL so that it becomes easy for you to understand what each function does, right? So first and foremost thing is we need an STL here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on file and I'm going to import a part. There are two ways of importing a part. First is the one I showed. The other is you can go to the shortcut and click on the import part. The same dialog box will appear, right? Now I'm going to just click on my files. I had segmented the model bone. So I'm going to select my available part as bone and open it. So if you see now, we have a dialog box that is coming in, that is import STL files. Right? So you have your file name, you have the location from where you are importing it, and then there's something called as import option. You have something called as fixed normal, split surfaces, scale, coefficient. What is fixed normals? So if I go back to the mimics file and I show you the triangular view, you see each triangle is oriented in a particular form. Not all the triangles are oriented in the same. Some triangles are bigger, some triangles are smaller. I hope you can visualize that. Right? So what happens is sometimes while exporting the parameters, the triangles may overlap or the triangles may flip or get inverted. Basically, the angulation may change. So it just asks you that do you want to maintain the same angles or you want to change or you want to fix the files in case there is some irregularity in your file. The other option is split surfaces. So let me first uncheck it and we will see how we import the file. So split surfaces basically, if I check on, what you get is you get a method of splitting. So basically, what it does is the computer, as per your angle, as per the angle set by you, will calculate at every 30° a new surface and make the model a composite or a combination of multiple surfaces. So let me first uncheck it. We'll do both. We'll do one with split surface, one import with split surface, one without it, so we can see the difference. Then there's something called a scale coefficient. So remember, in Mimics, we work with a scale of mm. So ideally, always select mm, and then you click on OK. So now if you see, you have your model as a single surface. What that means is, let me highlight you here. Now that you've imported the model, you can see the name of the model and its properties in the object tree. So what your object tree does is it tells you what all components are present in your work area. So initially I had copied the expanded left sinus. So it shows me that there are two components right now in the work area. One is my expanded left sinus, the other is my bone. Okay. So now when I go click on the bone and I click on the additional sign here, I see there are multiple things here. Something called as a surface list, something called as curve, graph, UV map list, etc. So what does the surface list does is it gives you the number of surfaces. Remember while we were importing, we had unchecked the split surface. So your component has only one single surface. Now I'm going to import again. This time I'm going to split the surface. I'm going to fix the normals. I'm going to split the surface. So you can use either split by angle or split by color. Angle is ideal. I'm going to use 30, say 45 degrees. So I'm importing the part. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm taking the previous model that I had incorporated. And now, again, let's click on the additional and see loaded surface set. So if you see here, you just had surfaces and surface. Now, you will have multiple surfaces. So if I am to show you, these are the multiple surfaces the software has created as per a 45-degree angle input that we had given it. So you can see the number of surfaces that have been created. So you have 2000, approximately 2100 surfaces being created. Let me just highlight one of the surface. If I'm supposed to filter the surface, what I'm doing is I'm clicking the right click option. I'll have multiple further options like delete, hide, deselect. I'm going to click the filter and I'm going to click surface. So what this will do is it will help me filter the surfaces. So this is one surface, if you can see. This is my second surface. Just clicking on that. So like this, you have multiple surfaces created. So again, based on your requirement and based on your as per your output requirement, you can either split the surface or you can bring the surface as one single component, and then as when you proceed, you can split the model into two sections or split the surface later on in the function.
No, Parinita, I didn't get what is the advantage of smooth surface. Why do you need it? And
What
when do
happens?
you need it?
Why do we? So ma'am, right now in this condition, we do not need it since this is an anatomical model. Sometimes what will happen is you will have like in case you're using multiple softwares like we do, right, to make different components. So our work is not limited only to thematic mimics and materialize. We also use multiple softwares. So we create suppose a sphere in or some anatomic some implant in say mesh mixer. Now I have created this model in such a way that it has multiple faces or multiple surfaces in that component. So when I input it, I know at what angle the surfaces will be generated. So for those components, right?
Okay. So we'll come back to it when we are talking about PSI.
Yes, we can do that. We can do that. But like because PSI, we'll be focusing only on thematic per se. So PSI as such, which created रहेगा नहीं, so I thought I've highlighted here. But later on in PSI also I can show you that how you split surfaces. Like once we export our HTL, so I'll just
Because
highlight
today
one
the
also.
voice quality is very bad. We are not able to get what you're saying.
Oh, okay, okay, ma'am. Okay, so we can come back to that later if required. What I'll do is then I'll quickly wrap it up for today, and maybe we can then again do doubt solving in the evening. And because since the voice clarity was also poor, so in case you have any other part wherein I will upload the recorded video also. In case there are any part that you find you did not understand or you would want me to repeat, we can repeat it in the doubt solving section then.
Okay.
So
Okay.
at least the interface is clear.
Maybe in the evening
Like,
when we are discussing, we may
what is the
also
work?
we can check start telling us how to do oropharyngeal airway segmentation. So maybe it will be good to do two exercises for this assignment, one for maxillary sinus and one for airway.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, we can do that. We can do that. So then what we can do is like right now just wrap up that this is how you import your model into thematic, and in the evening then we can look at the oropharyngeal airway pathway, and then like we can finish how to fix the file and make it print ready in that session, if that works for everyone. Can we do that?
मैंने बोला
अरे स्टार्ट करो भाई
Ma'am, then can we do it? I was asking if that is suitable, then we can do it at that only in the evening. Just let me know the time.